Let's drill down now on the dynamics between presidential press secretaries and the White House press corps. Joining us is Ed Henry, Fox's chief national correspondent, and the author of 42 Faith, the rest of the Jackie Robinson story.
Good to see you.
Same here. All right, so you have New York Times, Washington Post. There's the book. Waiting on that. Reporting based on leaks that President Trump's unhappy with his communications team, which was kind of kept in the dark until about an hour before this broke. Is it common to make the spokespeople a scapegoat when things go wrong?
Yeah, I think people in the communication shop can get blamed. It's happened in previous administrations. I think this president has unique challenges because he is a strong communicator when he wants to be, but when it goes bad, he sort of doubles down on Twitter and whatnot, and his communication staff bears the brunt of, you know, the tough questions and the accusations that they weren't telling the truth because he changes the narrative.
And then President Trump said, well, you know, I'm moving so fast, I'm such an activist president that the press staff can't be expected to reflect my views with 100% accuracy.
There's a little truth to that in that he is moving faster than other administrations. But where I think I saw Judge Jeanine challenge him, and I would challenge him, is that so you have the ability to slow down. You can, you know, and I
just to be clear, we're not talking about slow down here in terms of policies. I mean,
it's a free country. He can do whatever
once he decides he's going to fire James Comey, he can say, let's wait a day. Of course, he was afraid it was going to leak, but let's wait a day. Let's have a rollout. Let's have our, you know, we'll have people that go on TV.
Figure it out so that it works to your benefit. You're the president. And on top of that, when I hear Kellyanne Conway say at the top of your show, I mean, you have her exclusively, she's saying, you guys aren't covering jobs. You're not covering health care. You're not this China trade deal. Yeah, there's good stuff this president has been doing. You know who's also not talking about it? The president. Kellyanne Conway. She talks about it when she's complaining to you that all we're talking about is Russia when the president's tweeting about Russia.
Well, he does talk about jobs a lot when he has these road trips and when he has the business executives in.
He hasn't been on the road in a couple of weeks.
Okay, but there's no question that firing the FBI director
in the White House talking about Russia.
Firing the FBI director in this circumstance was going to be the dominant story, no matter what kind of press
choice. And there are a lot of reasons why James Comey should have been fired. But you're right, there was no real roadmap or plan to implement it.
What about all of these speculative stories about who's going to get fired, and it's really ratcheting up now with this Axios report. It could be Spicer, it could be Priebus, it could be Bannon, you know, and most of the time nothing happens. But also the president saying the press is unfair to Sean Spicer and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I mean, you've gone to a million briefings as a White House correspondent. It can often be contentious.
Yeah, I mean, look, do you think Scott McClellan had it easy or Ari Fleischer? They had contentious briefings. Have Dana Perino on. There were plenty of rough days.
Mike McCurry
during impeachment. Mike McCurry on the Democratic side. Do I think Republicans often get tougher questions? A lot of times they do, whether people in the mainstream media want to admit that or not. Look at the front page of the New York Times today. Okay, I'll give you a concrete example. There's a story about how the president is all angry. You see the cover of the New Yorker there. That's sort of humorous. But it says that all of the root of this, according to the New York Times story, is that the president feels grievance that he's not gotten credit for winning the election. And they say on the jump, an unpredictable presidency shaped by deep resentment. Where's the front page story about the deep resentment on the left and how months later they don't feel credit on why they should have won? Hillary Clinton talked about this a week or so ago, and she was still aggrieved, and the left is marching in the streets with anger, and yet the New York Times is focusing on the president's anger. This president has not gotten a fair shake. That's true.
Okay.
But my point, to be absolutely clear, is that he is not getting a fair shake, but he sometimes makes it worse by engaging in these side things. Maybe there's tapes, for example. Of course, the White House press corps will and should follow up on that.
All right. I've been hearing from a lot of Trump supporters who say, yeah, we should abolish briefings. Kick those reporters out. They're not fair. Now, what would the reaction be if Barack Obama fired his FBI director or someone and then halted the press briefings?
I was in the briefing room for that, and we would have been pushing the president. We've been pushing Josh Earnest or Jay Carney. It gets back to my other point. You want to cancel the briefings? Fine. You're free. You can run this administration however you want. But then guess what, Kellyanne Conway? You're not going to get your message out about jobs and health care. Yeah, you could put it on Twitter and all that.
The briefings aren't just for reporters, and reporters can play gotcha.
It's not just
reporters can play gotcha, but at the same time, it lets the administrations live every day on cable to get their message out.
They have 45 minutes or an hour to talk about whatever they want. Yes, there's some gotcha questions. Deal with those and then talk about your message.
All right, Ed Henry, bringing us the wisdom experience. Thanks very much for joining us.